You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. In Phoenix, one of the worst cases of abuse of police power we have seen in a long time. A 4-year-old, without her parents' knowledge, walks out of a dollar store with a dog. Let me repeat that. A dollar store with a doll. Then this happened.
Who the fuck is that, man? Police? Yeah.
It doesn't open. I promise it doesn't open.
You're gonna fucking get shot! Get your fucking hands off!
Get out the fucking car! Get out the fucking car right now! Yes, get out now! Get out the fucking car!
You fucking hear it? Get out of the fucking car! You recording it?
Yeah, I'm recording it.
Put your hands up. I don't give a shit. Put your hands up. Hands up.
I can't put my hands up. I'm fucking bleeding, man. I can't. I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. It's overdoing shit. It's overdoing it.
Hey, say break your feet! When I tell you to do something, you fucking do it!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just on the side.
You're not complying with me!
Yes, I am.
When I tell you to do something, you fucking do it!
I am. I'm complying with everything, sir.
Okay, right now, shut your mouth!
Put the other key down. No one else is involved.
When I tell you to put your fucking hands up, put your hands up! I got a fucking baby, nigga! It's a fucking disgusting! Put your hands up!
Hey, hey! Whoa, sir, come down!
Oh, wait.
When I tell you to do something, you fucking do it!
Where the girl at?
You're not complying with me! When I tell you to do something, you fucking do it! I am. I'm complying with everything. Okay, right now, shut your mouth!
Oh, look at these kids. Y'all get it.
Can I get the babies? Excuse me? Can I get the kids? Excuse me? Officer,
Duffy,
can I
shut
get
up.
the kids?
Duffy, go get her kids.
Can I
Go get her kids. Duffy, go get her kids. Hurry up. He needs to slow down, and those kids is right there. Duffy, go get her kids. Hurry up. Duffy, go get her kids, and the lady is pregnant. Duffy, go get her kids. She bringing it.
Folks, the mayor of Phoenix has apologized for the behavior of these cops, but they still have their jobs pending an investigation. Also, Jay-Z is also paying for their attorney. And the parents had no idea their child even took the doll out of the store. They were completely in the dark. Now, let's go to Arkansas, where a cop who clearly wanted to shoot this black driver, but he was not taking the bait. Watch this.
What I do wrong?
Shut your car off!
Come on, shoot me.
Shut your car off!
You want to shoot me?
Got a gun!
What?
My hand in the air.
Shut the car off. Shut.
Nah, hey, come shut the car off. I ain't moving my hands. He trying to shoot me. He trying to shoot me.
Shut the car off.
Nah, I ain't moving. No, my hand in the air.
Shut the car off.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
Need units in Midland Heights.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
All you gotta do is drive up.
What I was doing? What was I doing? What was I doing? My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
Failure to comply with the lawful
Shoot
order.
me. My hand in the
I'm
air.
not gonna shoot you, but you're not gonna move those hands.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air. You tell me to shut my car off so you can shoot me. Come on now.
The cop says all you had to do was drive off. The man then says, what did I do? He couldn't tell him what he did. You remember the front of the video, the cop said, gun. There was no gun. He was straight lying. But he was speaking into the radio and the body camera. That's what he was trying to also cover up. Finally, in Baltimore, a police officer got angry when a bystander criticized him for the way he was detaining another man. Listen and watch what this cop did.
Why don't you mind your business?
You need to stop that man sitting on the ground.
30.
Sitting on the ground.
You got him? You got him?
I'm not running nowhere. Sir, get off me, sir. Sir, don't grab. Sir, get off me. Get the me. Hey, look
You need a Lowen Ashton.
Yo, what the y'all? Oh my God. I'm suing y'all, yo. I'm suing y'all. Record on the ground. Get on the ground now. Man, you better. Get on the ground. Yo, what the Get on the ground. Get your knee off of me. Get on the ground.
You need a Lowen Ashton.
Bro. Yo, get on the ground. Hey, look, call my wife. Ground.
Sit down.
Call my wife. Sit down.
Sit down.
I'm not sitting on the ground, yo. I'm not sitting on the ground. I'm not sitting on the ground.
Put him on the ground.
Relax. Yo, take these hands. Beat that shit out you, yo. Relax.
I didn't even do nothing, man. Be quiet.
Stand over here. Stand over there. Stand over there. That's Sean right there. Stand over there. Stand over there. I'm listening. I'm walking out there from the crash spot. I asked him, I said, why they got the man sitting on the ground with his He came in, he charged me, rocked me, kicked me all on the ground. Why you checking me? That is illegal.
He's under arrest, yes.
For what? For what? When am I under arrest?
Just got in jail. Take your charge like a man.
For what?
Take your charge.
What am I going to jail for?
Because you don't know how to act.
Do you hear this? I don't know how to act.
Hey, search him. He hasn't been searched.
The officer in Baltimore has been criminally charged, false imprisonment, misconduct in office. He was charged with assault. You heard him say, take your charge like a man, because he dared to literally question him. My pound, Dr. Cleo Monago, socio-political analyst and activist. Janice L. Mathis, Esquire, Executive Director, National Council of Negro Women, and Dr. Nyambe Carter, Department of Political Science, Howard University. Cleo, you work with law enforcement in Los Angeles. I want to show all of those back to back to back, because all we keep hearing, good cops, oh, few bad apples, but you saw what happened in Phoenix, in Brooklyn, in Arkansas, in Baltimore, all white cops, and how they were hyper-aggressive, targeting black people. And you literally have cops pulling guns out in Phoenix over a doll in a dollar store?
Roland, as you know, we've been talking about this issue for years. Maybe it's been, I don't know, almost 10 years now. And I have to reiterate, because this is redundant as well, I have to be redundant. I'm so glad that somebody invented these video smartphones, because as a result of that, as we know, we get to see these things going down. And I'm even more excited to hear that in each one of these incidences, apparently, the cops have been apprehended in terms of being questioned and put some type of punishment for what they've done, possibly. But what I'm concerned about, as usual, first of all, I'm very traumatized right now myself. That back-to-back craziness was difficult. I have to keep myself from crying, because I'm not trying to be crying on camera. But anyway, we have to be talking to our children about this, because the brother mentioned earlier about the young man in Brooklyn who was traumatized. It's important to understand that witnesses to this are traumatized. Black boys in particular who wonder when their turn is going to come are traumatized. And we got to talk to our children and alert them that it's not their fault. The attorney also mentioned that people that he had spoken to said that he must have done something. And I just hope it becomes clear to us, I'm talking about black people now, that when we see a brother or a sister in handcuffs being led to the police department, does not necessarily mean they actually done something. Because we have some anti-black impulses that we've been trained through media and through all the negative messaging that we have not really talked about as a people, so we can unlearn and unpack those impulses. And it's a good idea that people are filming this stuff. And I'm going to close with this. As I say every time, most of these cases don't make the media. Most of these cases, people don't think about taking their phones out. They're too traumatized to remember to do that. So black people, we need to step up and do something about this. Members of Congress, people who are in influential positions, we need to look at the fact that our children, our people, black men especially, and black people are being traumatized and assaulted for doing nothing. A dog coming out of a doll store. And cops are dealing, you talk about road rage, we're dealing with dysfunctional cop rage in this country, with cops taking out their fantasies on to control and take down black people because they have that fantasy, and they get to do it now because they got a gun.
Janice Mathis, when you look at this, when you look at all of these different cases, when you look at what's behind them, the case in Brooklyn, a young man just walking down the street, and all of a sudden looks up, and then he's taken to the ground by cops. Hell yes, this is traumatic for black people. And look, I'm here in Dallas right now. And you had a white man who was shot and killed today who went to the federal building, armed, Kevlar vest. I mean, he was ready for war. He was taken down. I mean, literally, it is a shock that black people have not gone to the extent of these crazy white extremists when it comes to their paramilitary gear, or literally how we are treated just walking while black.
Well, Roland, there are two forces that seem to be exacerbating what we're seeing. I, too, was stunned and shocked to watch those successive videos. I shouldn't be surprised. 30 years of practicing law in Georgia, I saw cases like that at least several times a year. But there are two forces. One is this rage, this enragement, this utter disgust and refusal to see black people as human beings entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that somehow young African-American men and black men in general and black people in general are just not quite human. We don't have to treat them quite like him. But the other thing is there's a permissiveness in the air that is exacerbating these feelings of low self-worth, competition that some people feel that they are losing.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about, you will not replace me. Who's trying to replace you? And where do you feel like you're being replaced at? That rage, but it is being fed and aided and abetted and exacerbated by what's going on in this administration. And we fool ourselves. But I think if there is a solution, it's going to come from doing a better job of screening. I don't believe in implicit bias, frankly. And I don't believe that you can train these kind of instincts out of people. The best you can do is avoid hiring racists in the first place as police officers. And we need to pay them better. But I am not a fan of saying there's more training. The law needs to be changed too, because this idea that anytime a cop says, well, I was afraid, well, think about how that young man must have felt saying, my hands are in the air. Now, he's got a gun pointed at him. And he's got to say over and over and over again. My heart started beating fast for him, because I kept wondering, when is this fool going to lose his composure and start shooting? My hands are in the air.
But Roland, I want to say something just real quick. I promise I can be brief here.
Hold on, Cleo, 1 second. Dr. Carter, I want you to weigh in.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, the only reason I could watch these videos today was because I knew no one died in them. And that's the really unfortunate part of all of this, is that death is so common, we don't think about the less spectacular cases where people are just harassed. I mean, this woman in Phoenix was told to put her 1-year-old not walking baby on the ground. right? Where that baby would have been burned, and God knows what they would have done to her, right, had she put that baby down. So it's all of these cases just show us how willing we are to believe police narratives. And honestly, in all of these cases, I think the police wanted these people to be shot and killed, because then they don't have a counter story. Because whether it's the man in Arkansas yelling gun, even though the guy clearly had his hands in the air and was no gun present, whether it's a Barbie doll in Phoenix, all these people needed some small provocation, even not, right? Because in Brooklyn, this young boy, and I can't even call him a young man, he's a boy, is walking home, and thank God for bystanders. Thank God for that woman in that yellow dress who walked around the police officers who were clearly trying to block her line of sight, and the young man in Baltimore who was talking about the lack of respect paid to us in our communities, sitting on the curb, people driving by, you're assumed to be a criminal. They were doing a warrant check. They didn't know whether this man had a criminal record. He had no charge against him, but he was being detained, and that young man said something about it because it's a routine disrespect. And that young man in that video who's saying he's going to sue the Baltimore Police Department, his harassment hasn't stopped because he's not had those criminal charges dropped. They've charged him with something else, because what they do, like they did after that Eric Garner case, and as they do after so many of these cases, the police will continue to surveil you. They will harass you. They will harass your people, the people around you, your community, hoping that you trip up, because they were going to get him on something because he was being smart, right? I mean, that's the only thing that cop didn't like, that he had the nerve to say something.
I'm arresting you because you don't know how to act.
Exactly.
You don't know how to act.
Right.
That ain't against
you
the
don't know
law.
how to act, and then take it like a man.
Yes.
And the thing it was also interesting is that in all these cases, not a single time has the police union, Fraternal Order of Police, said, damn it, you know what? Our people are wrong.
That's right.
This shouldn't have happened. Cleo, go ahead.
And I also want to mention, just inspired by what I just heard, that 5 of the people that were involved in Ferguson who were protesters are dead, mysteriously. So I want to mention that in terms you mentioned surveillance, et cetera. But I want to say that...
That's a story that we've covered, trying to understand, what is going on there. And look, there's still no answers, and they're unsolved. 2 of them actually were found shot and burned in their cars. But go ahead.
She mentioned Trump. And I want to tell you, I worked at the East Los Angeles Sheriff Department in the late 80s. The same exact thing we just saw on video, because I witnessed with my own eyes, was one of the reasons why I quit and resigned from the police department, was going on back then. I want to make us real clear, because of Trump's insanity and how ridiculous and extreme he is, we're making a correlation. But I want people to know that, I mean, this kind of behavior and attacks and assaulting a black person. One time I was driving down the 10 freeway in Los Angeles, and I saw a sheriff. It was a woman parked on the side of the freeway, and he was literally banging his car into her car and pushing her car sideways. You understand what I'm saying? Her car was turned sideways, and he was pushing her car with the car. And I got out the car and said, what's going on? And he threatened to kill me. And I was working for the sheriff's department at this time. So I just want to say, just real quickly, that this is not new.
I'm not saying
it's this
new.
thing right here that's making it come to attention. We've been getting killed like this for a long time. I really don't.
One second. It's not. One second. It's not new. It's not new. But here's the piece here, Janice. The difference that we have here. 2 things. 1, you have proliferation of video cameras. Everybody now has a phone. 2, the reason it does matter when you talk about Trump is because under Jeff Sessions, under Bill Barr, the Attorney General, they have executed a strategy where they do not want to hold cops accountable. All Donald Trump does is go in front of cops and praise them and lavish them. Jeff Sessions said we're going to pull back on consent decrees because it was hurting the morale of cops. This administration and white Republicans do not want to hold cops accountable because they want them to keep doing this type of stuff.
I agree with that.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree with that.
Janice, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking that when you think about the fact that the consent decrees were not just abandoned but reversed, you had the Justice Department switch sides in the case in Ferguson and in Baltimore, and to actively oppose the consent decrees. The judges that are flooding the federal benches that will be there for the rest of my lifetime and beyond, who can be counted on to find excuses for police misbehavior. It's difficult for me to understand how that could not exacerbate what we're seeing in the streets.
But Roland, there has been polls taken on the attitudes between blacks and whites about the police for the past 20 years. And no matter what goes down in terms of how they attack black people, most whites keep saying that what the police is doing is fine.
But
Democrat and Republican.
But I think it's a both and proposition. Both things can be true. No, I think it's a both and proposition. I think both of what you guys are saying can be true at the same time.
Sure.
I mean, and I think we also need to talk more clearly about the police unions, because police have always been weapons of the state used to discipline black bodies for any manner of things that the state wanted to do. But I do think these police unions, we have got to have a way to criticize them more clearly and confront them, because the power that they have, it's obscene. And the fact that they won't even see something like this and say, this does not represent us, lets us know that these people are not here to protect us, but to keep lining their own pockets and keep their pensions and everything else for them and their brothers.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just 1 month. All right, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in the last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a lot of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. And of course, they're excited by that. Now they have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not better, than the last. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is a cousin to marijuana, of course, and then it has a higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all of the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, that changed with the 2018 Farm Bill, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants, and this makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. All right, folks, all you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org if you want to get in the game. And if you do so, do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.